Good day, and welcome to today's session. For those of you who are joining us literally for the first time, just write in the chat the word new. And for those of you who are back again, just write I'm back again. First and foremost, I want to welcome you guys, every single one of you guys, for being in the right place at the right time. This is the place where we're going to be sharing with you insights and principles around and about as it pertains to property. So what I want to do to get us started, guys, I want to invite you to let us know in the chat where you are joining us from. All right, let us know in the chat where you are joining us from, and that way I'm going to be able to welcome you. But also side by side with that, I'm also going to be able to know, okay, this is where people are engaging or connecting with our content from. So guys, first and foremost, a great big welcome. Now, as I welcome you guys, I want to share with you guys exactly what we are doing here in this session. All right. So first and foremost, if you're someone who's brand new to this session, this is a live session that we created in order to help you guys move further faster in your property investment journey and allow you and assist you in order to create more cash flow from your existing and prerequisite assets that will be coming as well. Now, what I want to do is I want to let you know, for those of you who are brand new, I see Dwayne in the house. Dwayne says coming in from London. All right, so we've got London in the house. That's absolutely amazing. And guys, everywhere else, wherever you are in the house, let us know where you're tuning in from so we can welcome you as well onto the session. Now, for those of you who are brand new, my name is Samuel, and I'm going to be your tour guide as it pertains to cash flow creation throughout this particular session. Now, these sessions, these principles for property sessions, they typically take around 35 to 45 minutes in order for us to literally break down a key core concept for you guys as it pertains to property. So I'm going to encourage you guys to fasten your seatbelt, but side by side with that, to have your notepad, iPad, tablet, stylus, pen, paper, everything you need in order to succeed throughout this actual training session. And what you're going to do is you're going to get multiple light bulb moments throughout this training, because you're going to start to see things specifically as it pertains to property from a principle-oriented standpoint. And what happens is when you start seeing things from a principle-oriented standpoint, things start to change for you. You start to recognize that, oh, I could actually have done that, even though I thought I couldn't have done that before. You start to recognize, oh, there are more opportunities in this than the opportunities I thought were in there before. So without further ado, let's jump right in. Now, first thing I want to share with you guys is what we covered in our last session. In our last session, we spoke about how to take your talents and turn your talents into turnover in property. Now, if there was anyone who was in the last session, just write the word me in the chat so I know that we've got some returning guests with us, right? And this is exactly what we were deep diving into. And I was sharing with you guys biblical principles about how to literally take your talents, the things that you already have, the resources and revenues that you already have access to, in order for you to be able to create real turnover. Now, in today's session, we're going to be going a little bit deeper than where we went in last week's session. And the reason why is because we're going to be covering a few things that I don't think you're going to be familiar or comfortable with yet, because you probably haven't heard about them yet. But here's the funniest thing. Before we do that, we always love every single session to do our success showcase. And those of you who remember our last session, our success showcase literally was sharing success, because I said to you guys that the success showcase of last session was someone I had never ever called out before, but I said it was you. I said every single one of you guys who are watching was the success showcase last session. And the reason I said that is because at the end of last session, I opened up an opportunity for you guys to actually join me on our current cash flow creation week in order for you to move further faster in your future. And I'm super grateful, because at the time of recording this, or at the time of going live right now, we have over 60 people who have joined our current cash flow creation week, right? So we've been working with them since the beginning of this week. It's been absolutely phenomenal. Now, if you're someone who's on this live right now and you're also inside of the cash flow creation week group, and you've been going through the work, the tasks, the training, and all of that stuff in the cash flow creation week, I'd love for you to just say a word or a sentence to describe how you found the cash flow creation week so far inside of the chat. Now, it doesn't matter what platform you're tuned into this from, whether you're tuning into this from YouTube, or whether you're tuning into this from Facebook, or whether you're tuning into this from some other platform. I would just love for you to literally just share with the people who are tuning into this, who aren't a part of the cash flow creation week, exactly how you've been finding it so far. And that will give them an opportunity to also say to themselves, oh wow, this is how the experience is for those cash flow creators who are on the cash flow creation process. Now, this week's slightly different. This week, our success showcase is literally someone who's on the cash flow creation week, okay, right now as we speak. And she's also someone who I've had the pleasure of being able to support and help and coach in the past, okay? And her name is Ketty. And I'm going to give the round of applause to Ketty now. All right? Go Ketty, right? Now, the reason why Ketty is our success showcase this specific session is because last night, Ketty's one of our VIPs in the Cash Flow Creation Week. And for the VIPs, we have a 60-minute VIP Q&A and coaching session every single day throughout the 5 days of the Cash Flow Creation Week. So yesterday was day 2. And in our day 2 VIP session, Ketty was a little bit on the hot seat, right? She got up, she raised her hand, she said, this is my question. And she said, Samuel, my question is, and she asked her question and I answered her question. And one of the things I shared with her in her question was about the success that I already know she has achieved. Now, Ketty's someone who has been learning about property, going on courses, doing training, being coached by multiple different people over the years. And over those years, she decided that, you know what, she was going to start creating a rent-to-rent portfolio. And not only has she done that, but she's also done other things. She bought her first property in France a number of years ago, and she's done a few other things, right? But the real success that I want to showcase for her, and I'm seeing Dwayne literally blowing up the chat, powerful, insightful, and he also says, big up Ketty, let's go, right? But the reason I really want to highlight Ketty's success is because of this, okay? Because Ketty doesn't see the success that I was showing her about herself in the VIP yesterday as her own success. And as we go deeper into today's session and I talk to you about taking over territory, specifically in property, you are going to get a better understanding of how important it is to understand when you do win that you are winning. Because procrastination a lot of the time comes from us having low self-esteem, from us looking at ourselves as though we're not winners when we actually are winners. At us looking at ourselves like a win that was a win wasn't that much of a win or wasn't that big of a win. And I don't want you to be someone who engages with our sessions, our content, our training, etc., and be someone who has that negative mindset around yourself, around your ability, around your potential. And one of the things I'm going to share with you for you to understand why this is so valuable for you is that God created you. I'm a strong believer of the Bible. I read the Bible every single day, and I'm a strong believer that God created you. And I'm also a strong believer that God doesn't make mistakes. So you, ladies and gentlemen who are tuned into this, are not a mistake. And by virtue of the fact that you are not a mistake, guess what? When you produce a win, let me tell you something, it's a win. And when you start recognizing that you can build your confidence and you can go out there and literally slay the property market, the cash flow creation market, or any other market you desire to win in, what will happen is you will start seeing other people recognizing and celebrating your success with you. So one of the greatest successes that I watched literally Ketty do whilst I was coaching her a number of years ago, and she was literally livid, afraid. She lost her job right at the time that the pandemic and lockdown and all of that stuff happened. And because she had lost her job, she really didn't know what to do. At the time, her property business wasn't where she wanted it to be. She was still working on things. But one of the things I'm super grateful for is I literally was able to support and watch Ketty flourish to a degree where she was able to start helping other landlords to get tenants for their property and literally generate an income out of that. So without further ado, another round of applause for Ketty. Let's go, let's go, let's go. And for those of you in the chat, those of you, whichever platform you're on, feel free to celebrate Ketty in the chat as well as we go deeper into today's session. Now, I know you're sitting there thinking, Samuel, so today, I can tell already you're fired up. I can tell already today's probably going to be a powerful thing. What's going on today? Today, I'm going to be sharing with you about what I call the Joshua Principle. Someone throw in the chat the words Joshua Principle. And the Joshua Principle effectively is a biblical insight, a biblical precept, a biblical aspect. Sorry, I see Mrs. I Can Win in the chat, and whenever I see Mrs. I Can Win, I get excited. She says, go Ketty, let's go, right? Now, the Joshua Principle is a biblical framework, a biblical precept, a biblical statute that we can use in order to conquer new property territories. Because if you go into the scriptures and you read about Joshua, both from the Old Testament in terms of the first 5 books, and then additionally in the book of Joshua, one of the things you will find, which is very, very powerful, is you will find that Joshua took over territories. Now, here's a question. In your property investment journey, are you attempting to be menial and stay in a minimal position and a minimal predicament financially and expansionally? Or are you ready to take over territory? Someone tell me in the chat if you're ready to take over territories with the word I'm ready. Because if you're ready to take over territories, today's training is going to equip you to be able to do that in a way you probably have never even thought about, let alone been able to do before. Today's training is going to open up a floodgate of opportunity for you to start seeing in a way you've never seen how you can start to take over property territories. I see it in the chat. I'm ready. I see it in the chat. I'm ready. Let's go. You guys are getting this. So we're going to start in today's session by going to Joshua chapter 1. Joshua chapter 1. And that's going to get us kick-started for me to be able to give you guys exactly what you need in order for you to succeed in today's session. And as you start to understand what I'm going to unpack in Joshua chapter 1, you're going to see exactly what's necessary for you and I to succeed in our property investment journeys. So for those of you who are ready, let's jump in. I'm going to Joshua chapter 1. Please join me there. Joshua chapter 1. Please join me there. In Joshua chapter 1, I'm going to read from verse 7. And I want you guys to get a keen understanding of what verse 7 is saying, not just from a biblical and spiritual perspective, because all things spiritual, hashtag invisible, manifest in the physical, hashtag visible. Okay? I'm going to say that again because that might have been a bit fast for some of you guys. All things spiritual, hashtag invisible. Maybe let's even just write this down so you guys can see it. All things spiritual, hashtag invisible, equally show up in the physical, which is hashtag visible. Okay? And this is very, very important to understand if you are someone who desires to have a level of success. Because in order for you to have a level of success, you have to understand how things work. If you don't know how things work, you can't make things work for you. I'm going to say that again. If you don't know how things work, you can't make things work for you. So what I said was all things spiritual, which are hashtag invisible. The Bible says that, very simply, just to give you some context with this, it says, God is a spirit, and those who worship him in spirit and in truth, which means God is invisible. And those who worship him invisibly and with truth. Okay? So all things spiritual, hashtag invisible, show up in the physical, which is hashtag visible. Okay? Hope you guys are getting this. Because this is just a foundation that I need you guys to understand so you guys can go deeper in today's session. If you're getting it, write in the chat, I'm getting it. So I know I'm with the right people as we go deeper into today's session. All things physical are actually first invisible. They're actually first spiritual. And it's because they're spiritual and they're invisible that they show up in the physical. Hashtag visible. Let's go. Why is this so important? I'm reading from verse 5. So Joshua chapter 1, verse 5. It says, there shall not any man be able to stand before you all the days of your life. As I was with Moses, so will I be with you. Now, let me tell you why this is so rich. If you are someone who's ever battled low confidence, if you're someone who's ever felt you're not good enough, if you're someone who's ever said to yourself, you know what, they can do it, but I don't know if I can do it. Let me show you something powerful here. In Joshua chapter 1, we read from verse 5 and we're going to go all the way probably to 9, right? I want you to see something. God says to Joshua, let's do a rendition of Joshua, right? God says to Joshua, he says to him, you're not going to have an enemy that's going to be able to defeat you. And then he says something powerful. He says, just like I was with Moses. What does this mean? I hope you are paying attention, okay? I love it. I love it. This is how we know we're in the right place with the right people, okay? Dwayne says, yeah, he's felt like that sometimes, all right? That's so powerful. And again, this isn't just about Dwayne. This is about anyone. If you are tuned into this, whether on YouTube, in the Facebook, wherever you may be seeing this, even on a replay, if you can synonymize with what Dwayne just said, hit the like on Dwayne's comment, right? If you feel like you've been in the same boat. If you've ever felt like you're not good enough, if you've ever felt like you're not strong enough, if you've ever felt like you can't last long enough, if you've ever felt like, how am I going to do this? I can see how they can do it, but not how I can do it. Let me share something powerful with you. God says in Joshua chapter 1 verse 5, he says, as I was with Moses. Do you know what as I was means in mathematics? In mathematics, that means equal. It means equal. It means that the power, the opportunity, the presentation of me showing up for Moses is going to be the same as me showing up for you. Why is that powerful? Let me tell you why it's powerful. Because that shows you that if something's available for someone, it's also available for you. If someone's excited about what I just said, literally just write the word excited in the chat. I want you to think about what I just said, right? Because if we are going to take over territories in property, if we're going to go to new areas, new locations, new lands, even if we're going to dominate the area we're in currently, here's something you need to understand. If it's possible for someone else, it's possible for you. If something can be true for them, it can be true for you. And if you are dealing with low self-esteem, low confidence, non-ability to believe, what you have to understand is what that actually means for you. That actually means that you do not believe that you can receive what God is saying is available for you to receive. God is saying, the same way I was with Moses, Joshua, I'm going to be with you. Guess what that means for you? That means the same way God may set someone else up, the same way you can see in the physical, #visible, someone else can be set up financially, someone else can be set up over a territory, is the same way God can make that available to you. I see excited in the chat. Let's go. Let's go deeper. I will not fail you, nor forsake you. That means I'm not running away from you. I'm not going to leave you. I'm going to be there with you and for you. Watch this, verse 6. Be strong and of good courage, for unto this people shall you divide for an inheritance the land, which I swear unto their fathers to give them. Now, why is this so powerful? This is powerful because it means if you've got a promise, you've got something to hold on to. And promises are #invisible, but they show up in the #visible. So as we take over property territories, some people may be concerned, some people may be worried, some people may be saying to themselves, how am I going to take over territories? Get the promise in the invisible so you can make it show up in the #visible. Get the promise in the spiritual so you can make it show up in the physical. Let's go deeper. 7. Only be, this is what he's commissioned to do, only be strong. Verse 7. And courageous. Hope you're watching this. Only be strong and courageous. Watch this, right? Because it goes deeper and deeper. That you may observe to do according to all the law which Moses, my servant, commanded you. Turn not from it to the right hand or to the left, that you may prosper wherever you go. Now, why is this part important? This part's important in verse 7 because what God is saying to Joshua is, listen, I've sent someone to you to help you. For Joshua, big J, that was Moses, big M. God says to big J, listen, follow big M's example. The same way big M has shown up and shown you a path, follow the path. But listen to what God says to him. He says, don't turn from that path to the left or to the right. Let me share with you why some of us have lacked success, because we've seen the path and we know that God's called someone to us and we turn to the left or we turn to the right. He says, do not turn from the left or the right. But here's the thing that's powerful. He don't say don't turn from the left or the right because I'm your boss and I'm trying to be in charge. I'm trying to dominate you. No, he says something powerful. He says, don't turn from the left or the right to that path, because that path is what's going to make you successful. The path. The path, not the person. Big M doesn't make Big J successful. The person doesn't make the other person successful. It's the path that makes them successful, which is why what we're talking about today is so profound when we think about taking over territories. Oh, if someone's getting some value, just write the word value in the chat. Guys, I want you to understand how deep this is. You can be setting yourself up literally by walking along a path. I'm going to say that again because some people need to share that with their friend. You can set yourself up for success literally by simply walking along a path. A path that other people are not walking along. Oh, someone's going to catch this. Let's go deeper. Dwayne says value. Okay, let's go. Dwayne's the only person in the house who's getting value. I'm loving this. Let's go. This is for you then, Dwayne. Let's go deeper. Verse 8. Verse 8 says, this book of the law shall not depart out of your mouth, but you shall meditate in it therein day and night. And then that you may observest, to do according to all that is within it. For then you shall make your way prosperous, and then you shall have good success, right? So here's the interesting thing. In most places of worship, in churches, etc., they'll read that verse and that's where they stop. That's where everything ends, right? Verse 8. Let's go to verse 9. Watch this. Have not I commanded you? So here's something interesting, right? Joshua's being told after the whole thing he needs to do, and after the whole thing that's going to come through, he's told who commanded him. He's told, listen, isn't this objective coming from God himself? Isn't this parameter, this prerogative coming from God himself? He's being told, listen, this ain't a physical thing that you're working on right now. This ain't a physical thing you're working on right now. This is a spiritual thing I'm getting you to work on right now. This is so powerful because when you understand this, you start realizing this is why you can't fail. I tried this thing and it didn't really work. Yeah, you didn't stay on the path. But guess what happens when you stay on the path, a path that has been assigned by God himself? When God himself says, do this. Or when you get off the path and then God himself says to you, I'm waiting for you to get back on that path. And you do the work to get back on that path. Guess what happens? You start dealing in something that's invisible. Something that makes sure you can't lose. Let's go deeper. Verse 9. Have I not commanded you? Now watch this. Now God says to him for the second time, be strong and be of good courage. Be not afraid. Do not fear. When you start feeling low self-esteem, when you start feeling like you're not good enough, that's fear. That's fear of not being able to show up. Guess what God said? Do not fear. It's so deep. Verse 9. And be not dismayed, for the Lord your God is with you wherever you go. Let me share something with you guys to help us understand where we're going in this session. He is here. And this is what I want you to remember. No matter what you go through, I want you to remember he is here. No matter how hard the situation looks, no matter how hard the situation feels, I want you to remember he is here. And some of you are going to be thinking, Samuel, what do you mean he's here? Why is that so important? I'm going to break down the training today. And as I start breaking down the training, you're going to see exactly what I mean. He is here. So Samuel, when you talk about taking over territories and you've spoken about Joshua and you put Joshua in, how does this all work? From a practical perspective, how does this work? How am I going to take over territories? And what does Joshua and the fact that God said he is here got to do with it? Well, let me show you this, right? Let's represent territories with like mountains, okay? Like imagine a mountain was a territory. And imagine in property, all of these territories are specific things. So one territory might be the territory of development. Have you ever done your first development? Okay? Another territory might be the territory of purchasing. Have you ever purchased a property before? Okay? Another territory might be the territory of control. Have you ever controlled a property before? And what you will find is in property, there are all these territories. All these territories. Along the journey, there are all these different territories. And all these territories represent different things. And this is what people need to start to understand about their property journey. That when they go through the path of their property journey, the objective is to receive, whether it be that financial freedom, whether it be some other form of a win. You're going through these territories in order to achieve your intended financial goal. Now let's say the goal for you, like many of my students when I first start working with them, right? Let's say this. Let's draw the end properly. Let's say the goal for you is £5,000 per month. Okay? Or like some of my other students, let's say the goal for you is £15,000 per month. Okay? Or like some of you guys who are tuned in, let's say the goal for you is actually £100,000 a month. The level you're at is not what's So important. What's so important is understanding that the objective of navigating through these territories is in order for you to receive a win. Now that win is different things. For some people, it's just financial freedom. For many of my students, it's not just financial freedom, it's actually a lasting legacy. They want to be the people that help people. They want to be the people that change other people's lives. Okay? So whatever your win is, financial freedom, whatever your win is, lasting legacy, even if your win is success through scaling your property portfolio, okay? It's a win that you're after. So let's start looking at what some of these territories are, and then we're going to start breaking down at least 3 of them in terms of how to navigate through them, okay? So we spoke about purchasing, we spoke about development, we spoke about property control, right? Let me make this one smaller. Okay, we spoke about controlling properties, okay? Now, another one might be scaling. As I mentioned earlier, you may want to scale your portfolio, okay? Another one may be research. Everybody's got to do a level of research. You may say to yourself, oh, you know, I've got to research what's going on in the market. Another one might be strategy. You might not know which strategy to use. You might be saying, okay, I'm a bit confused. Which strategy should I use? Should I go for this? Should I go for that? I don't know what to go for, right? Another territory you might want to take over is partnership. Learning who to work with, who not to work with, why to work with them, why not to work with them, okay? Let's look at other things, okay? There may be an element of coaching. A territory you want to get into. You want to say to yourself, you know what, I had coaches that poured into me. Now I want to coach other people and help them become financially free. In property, you might be someone who's looking into property software and what software to use, okay? Some of my clients, they have interior design businesses. That might be another territory that you're looking to get into. Interior. Thank God this is not a spelling test. You may be saying to yourself, how can I start to do more in the interior design space to elevate my property business? Okay? There are so many angles and avenues that you might want to go down. One of the ones I focused on for years, let's put that on here. Sourcing. You may say to yourself, you know what, I just want to help other people as well. I want to create value for other people too. So there are so many different territories that can be taken over throughout our process. Now, why is this important? I'm going to focus on 3 of these to help you move further, faster through this process. And I want you to think about, as we're going through this process, which are the 3 or which 3 you need to focus on right now in your property journey. Because for different people, it's going to be different things. I want you to start thinking about it. I want you to start saying to yourself, well, is this what I need to focus on, or is that what I need to focus on? And as you get clearer on what you need to focus on, guess what's going to happen for you? You're going to automatically start achieving more success because you're automatically going to know more about what you're looking for. Okay? Hopefully this is helping someone, right? Let's go deeper. So let's start with the first one I want to focus on. The first territory that I want us to be able to take control of is the territory of research. Why? Because this relates to even going into new markets. So let's say, for example, you're based in London, and like many people I meet, you say, okay, you know what? I want to start investing in property in another area. Okay, this is a magnifying glass. For those of you who are looking at that like Samuel, what have you just drawn? Okay, here's the cheat code. I'm going to tell you. It's a magnifying glass, right? A magnifying glass. And this magnifying glass is synonymizing with research. Because when you do research, what you're doing is you're looking deeper into what's going on. Okay? So what are some of the ways in property? Let's say, for example, I wanted to go into a brand new area. What are some of the ways that I could do the research? I'm going to share them with you very quickly. The first thing you want to be looking at and how you do the research is you focus your research on supply and demand. Those of you who are part of the Cash Flow Creation Training Week, we're going to be looking at that today. Day 3 is where we really deep dive into the supply and demand factors, right? But this is one thing you might say to yourself, you know what, Samuel, I've been listening to your content and I'm looking at investing in this area. It might even be the area you're actually living in. How do I do that successfully? Well, the first thing you do is you consider supply and demand. You consider what supply is available and what demand is available, okay? So that's the first thing. Now, the next thing you think about is the different stock types, okay? Now by stock, what do I mean? I mean property types, okay? What different stock types are there in the area? Is every property in that area an apartment? Because it's a brand new area with lots of high rises, for example. Or is every property in that area a old townhouse? Okay? These are factors that will help you when you start thinking about what is the actual stock type inside of this area. That's what's going to put you apart from all the other people, the people that are just starting, the people that have been doing it for years but never really did the research. This is why research is essential to actually start taking over territories. This is what literally was commissioned unto Joshua from God himself. God said, listen, be strong and courageous. Understand who's sending you. By being strong and courageous and understanding who's sending him, what's he doing? He's relying on a firm foundation of the promise he was given. The promises in the past, just like research. When we start looking at supply and demand, guess what we're looking at? The information from the past. When I did my first degree in computing and statistics, the statistics element is all about looking at numbers in the past and what do they mean in order for them to inform us in the present and the future. So it's the same thing I want you guys to understand. Supply and demand is one of the crucial factors of research you need to look into. But then after supply and demand, start looking at the stock types. What opportunities are there? What kind of properties are there? What kind of things can I jump into? And so forth and so forth. If someone's getting this, let me just see in the chat, I'm getting it. Let's look at another factor. Second territory to take over. Let's talk about partnerships, okay? And some of you would have seen me draw this diagram before, okay? Simple diagram. So if you've seen me draw this diagram before, you already know what I'm drawing, okay? But this is a hand, okay? And this is another hand. And these are two hands coming together, okay? And these two hands coming together symbolize partnership. Now, why is this so important? Well, the reason it's so important is because partnership is another territory that we should do well to learn how to take over in. We would do well to understand how to actually take over the territory of partnership. Why? Because this allows us to have more success. I've said it before, I'll say it again. Incremental partnerships create exponential results. There may be one person you find, the Bible says one can chase 1,000, what two will put 10,000 to flight. Incremental partnerships create exponential results. You might just connect with one coach and you start seeing everything in your life changes. You start finding ways to make money that you never thought you could make money from before. What is that? It's an incremental partnership creating an exponential result. You might get married to one person and start realizing, hold on a minute, I used to have dreams, but now I'm living my dreams. Oh, someone's going to get that one. You see, this wife of mine just literally inspires me. She encourages me. She increases me by just saying to me, you can do it. This husband of mine, he literally fires me up, puts me on the right trajectory by literally saying to me, Queen, you can do it. I want you guys to understand incremental partnerships create exponential results. God set it up like that for us to win. But the question is, will we use it? So partnerships is something crucial. And if you're going into a new area, if you want to start engaging in property in a place that maybe you haven't been before, or even if you want to get focused and serious on the area where you're currently at, a great question might be, well, hold on a minute. How do I start developing partnerships? Okay, and I'm going to show you this. One of the first groups of people you may want to look or seek out if you're looking for partnerships are local investors. If I decided to go to an area that I hadn't been investing in before, and I say, okay, I want to start investing in this area, the first thing I should start looking for is local investors, people that are already locally investing there. Why? Because I'm going to get pieces of research / information just by virtue of connecting with these people. Forget the fact that they may actually even invest in what I'm doing, but besides that, there's additional value in the fact that they may actually say to me, oh, did you know this? Did you know that? So this is even informing my research. The partnerships inform my research. They help my research become even more valuable. I want you guys to see this and understand the value in this, in connecting with local investors. Another thing you want to connect with is local team players. What do I mean by team players? Well, some of you guys have either been on the Cash Flow Creation Week, or you may be in the Cash Flow Creation Week presently. And if the Cash Flow Creation Week is something of interest to you, you can literally go to cashflowcreationchallenge.com and then go get registered for whenever the next one is. But in the Cash Flow Creation Week, on day 5, when we cover cash flow creation success, one of the things I talk about is your ideal cash flow team. Some of you may have got this program that I created before called Team 10. In this program, what I do is I break down the 10 key players that you need in order to succeed in your property investment journey. If you want to scale your property investment business, this is a great resource to understand who you need in your team. But it's all fair and well having a team based in London if you're investing in Manchester. And this is why the second group of people you want to focus on with partnerships is local team players. If you have a mortgage broker, you want a mortgage broker who understands the landscape where you're doing deals. If you have a solicitor, you want a solicitor who understands the landscape of the kind of nature of deals you're doing. So this is why you don't just want to have local investors in terms of partnerships, but you also want to have local team players. If someone's getting this, let me see in the chat the words, I'm getting it, so I know you guys are with me. Now, let's go to the last one. The last one I've said is strategy, but effectively, besides strategy, we can also call this routes. What routes to market are we taking? What routes to market are we taking? Now, the reason I love strategy, I'm literally going to put this on a new page. Yes, I'm going to do that. Let's take it all there. The reason I love strategy is because strategy gives us something that a whole bunch of other things can't give us, okay? And I want to show you this because I want you to see this for yourself, okay? Strategy gives us something a whole lot of other things cannot give us. And when you forget how to paste, let's see if we can get this done quickly. If so, if not, I'll go back. All right, let's go back for the sake of time, right? So the thing with strategy, I just wanted this bigger. Let me just make it bigger, right? The thing with strategy is strategy for you and I is sort of like a compass. Strategy gives us a form of direction. And this is why strategy is so crucial. This is why strategy sets you up to succeed. Because strategy is literally like the compass you're going to use in order to succeed. Now, what kind of strategies are things to be considered? Well, I'm going to give you two, which I think are extremely helpful, and hopefully you're going to be able to utilize these, tap into these in order to move yourself further faster. The first one is focusing on people versus focusing on property. You see, we live in a day and age where everyone who wants to get into property is only focused on property. But what people don't realize is something one of my coaches taught me years ago, which is, Samuel, property is a people business. And because property is a people business, guess what you should be focused on? You should be focused on people rather than on property. If you're a landlord, you should be focused on the type of people you're providing property to. Why? Because those people are going to determine how successfully you do property. If you're a property sourcing agent, you should be focused on the kind of people you're acquiring property from. Because the kind of people are going to determine the kind of assets you're able to acquire. If this is making sense to someone, just write the word "me" in the chat, so I know this is super clear and concise for you, right? So this is the first thing to get in your mind. Like, am I people focused in my business, or am I property focused in my business? A property is a fixed entity. A property can't say yes when you negotiate with it. A property can't say no when you negotiate with it. A property can't give you a great deal. So this is why we have to get focused on focusing on the people versus the property. Now, let's go into the last step that I'm going to give you in terms of strategy, which I think is going to be super powerful for you. The next one is you need to start thinking, are you going to focus on direct deals? And when I say direct, I'm talking about you working directly with a seller, you working directly with a landlord, you working directly in that deal, versus on market deals. Now, by on-market deals, what do you mean, Samuel? What I mean by on-market deals, I'm talking about jumping on Rightmove, jumping on Zoopla like many people do. See, this is something I've spoken to people about for years and said for years. Listen, someone is not a property sourcing agent if they get properties off of Rightmove and Zoopla. Why? Because Rightmove and Zoopla are on-market platforms. That means those deals are already on market. There are coaches and trainers and teachers out there who tell people, listen, you can become a property sourcer, and then they tell them to go on Rightmove and Zoopla to find deals. That's not how you find great property deals. So guys, with that being said, I want to share with you guys the opportunity for you guys to now potentially ask some questions if you have questions for today's session. Now, what we typically do in these sessions is my team usually put together a set of questions that they believe that you guys will potentially have and want to ask in the first place, all right? And they've done exactly that today as well. So I'm going to allow you guys to vote for the question you desire for us to answer today, All right. So there's 3 questions available. And guys, you just let me know which question you want us to answer. There are 3 questions available, and you guys can let us know which question you want us to answer in order for you to move further faster in your property investment journey. So question A is, how can I learn about new locations to buy property like Joshua discovered new lands? Question B is, how can I connect or collaborate with others who know about property in different locations to help me? So the team players, etc., like I spoke about. The third one is, what should I do if I feel scared about buying a property in a new location that I don't know much about? So they're the 3 questions that we've got for you guys that we've put together for you guys. So my question to you is this: which question do you want us to answer? Vote in the chat, whether you're watching this on Facebook, YouTube. It doesn't matter where you're watching this from. If you are live, ABC in the chat. Put your ABCs in the chat, ABC in the chat, and we'll get the poll up. And using the poll, we will determine which question we are going to answer. All right, we'll get the poll up, and using the poll, we'll determine which question we are going to answer. And I can see already we got a vote for A, we got votes for C coming through. Let's go, guys. Keep them votes coming through. Keep those votes coming through so we know what you guys are voting. Keep those votes coming through, guys. Keep those votes coming through. Okay, so here's the poll so far. A looks like it's winning so far. So we will jump into question A. Okay, A looks like it's winning, so we'll jump into question A. All right, so question A, I'm reading it out again. It says, how can I learn about new locations to buy property like Joshua discovered new lands? Okay, great question. How can I learn about new locations to buy property like Joshua discovered new lands? All right, so the answer to that is very simple. So I'm going to give you a simple answer, and then I'm going to break it down a little bit more. The simplest answer to that is to start considering how you do your research. You see, the problem for most people is they don't do any research. Okay? They don't research anything. They don't research the market. They don't research how to do property. They don't research. They don't learn. They don't get themselves educated. And the key to exactly what we're talking about here is to actually get yourself educated. Because by getting yourself educated, guess what you do? You get everything you need in order to succeed. I've often said it. I'll say it again so you can share it with a friend. The fastest path to success is through means of coaching. So I'm going to encourage you to go and find a coach who can help you to fast track your journey. You don't need to take 10 years to do what you can do in 10 days when you've already got the insights from someone who's already played that game. Okay? And that's not just about over coaching in terms of learning property strategies. That's also about other things. Okay, I'm looking at getting into this area. Is there someone already in this area that I can learn from? And this goes back to what I was saying earlier about potentially connecting with local investors. Okay? So if you're looking at discovering new areas that you can invest in, which you currently don't know, I would say to you, start a process of research. One of those process of researches would be connecting with other people, like-minded individuals who are active in that area, connecting with other people, like-minded individuals who are active in your area, and asking them, where are you investing? What are you looking at? What's the projects you're looking at now? What's your plan going forward? I was asked a powerful question in our VIP session yesterday by one of our graduate students, funnily enough, not even an existing cash flow creation student. This was actually a graduate of one of our coaching programs. And they asked the question, they said, Samuel, where do you see the property market going in the future? Now, why are they asking great questions like that? They're asking great questions like that because they are looking to do exactly what I've just shared with you. They're looking to grab insights and information from the coaches around them in order for them to move further, faster. I see Dwayne in the chat who says, thank you, Samuel. You're most welcome, Dwayne, right? You're most welcome. So that's the key, guys. That's the key. Now, for those of you who got value in today's session, I'm going to encourage you, put this date and time in your diary. Next week, Wednesday at 3 p.m., we're going to be going live again. But next week, we're going to be talking about something I think is going to be absolutely powerful. We're going to basically be talking about the David and Goliath of property, okay? We're going to be talking about how you can start to attack larger opportunities, how you can go bigger in your property investing. So you don't have to worry about, you know what, can I do this? Can I make it happen? Is this going to be for me? Can I make it in this market? Here's the funniest thing. We're going to show you how to literally take out the giants in your property journey. So you're going to actually see next week how to move further faster in your property investing as we focus on the David versus the Goliath of property. All right. Now, for those of you who've got value from today's session, I see that let's go in the chat. I'm going to encourage you, especially if you're someone who's very interested in strategy and you're thinking to yourself, you know what, how can I learn more strategies? Samuel's just broken down that strategy is like the compass for me. How can I learn more practical property strategies in order for me to win? Well, I'm going to invite you to go and grab a resource that I created some time ago, but is still extremely very valuable today. And that resource is called 30 Ways in 30 Days. Okay. Now, I also mentioned the Team 10 earlier. If you're interested in the Team 10, you'll be able to get this from the same place I'm inviting you to go and get this resource here. Okay. Now, we used to retail this resource for £97 on its own. You can go and get this resource. I'm going to say this. I don't even know if I should say it. It kind of says it on the slide, so maybe I should just say it because it says it on the slide. But you can get this resource for basically free. All you need to do is pay for the shipping, and the shipping is less than £10, okay? Now, on that website, if you decide to go and get all of the actual resources on there, you can't even spend up to £50, all right? If you buy every single thing on there, right? So that's including the Team 10, etc. But the point I'm making to you is take this opportunity, use the QR code on the screen right now, or go to the link impactproperties.co.uk/free 30 days and go and get your free 30 days 30 ways training program, absolutely free. And all you do is pay for the shipping for my team to get it to you. So guys, with that being said, I also want to share with you a very quick resource that's called Blue Ocean Strategy. It's a book that I recommended to my cash flow creators yesterday night, and I want to recommend it to you as well. If you're someone who's interested in leveling up in your ideas around strategy, go get the resource Blue Ocean Strategy. This is a book that's been extremely valuable to me in understanding about strategic engagement. I see Frank in the chat. Frank says excited, all right? So those are the resources I'm recommending for you today in order for you to move further faster in your property investment journey. The 30 ways, absolutely 30 days training, absolutely free. You can go and get that. And then side by side with the 30 ways in 30 days training, secondarily to that, the second one is the Blue Ocean Strategy. So if you want this training program, it's absolutely free. All you've got to do is pay for the shipping and we will get this into your hands. And there's also an option for you to get the instant access on there as well. So if you don't want to wait the 14, 24, however long it takes for shipping to come, you can literally get the instant access on that same website. So the QR code's right here. Feel free to scan that right now. If you're watching this on replay, press pause and scan it. Side by side with that, the link is there for those of you who want to use the link, impactproperties.co.uk/free 30 days. Guys, with that being said, I'm going to love you guys. I'm going to leave you guys. And by God's grace, I'm going to see you guys. If you're not in the Cash Flow Creation Week this week, I'm going to see you next week at 3 p.m. Wednesday, same place. Or if you are in the Cash Flow Creation Week, I'm going to see you guys later on tonight for our Cash Flow Creation class. With that being said, good day. God bless. I'll see you on the next one. Take care, guys.